The Creation of All, Chapter 6, Part 2. And a Bodo is? I asked, needing that to be explained to me. They uphold the law in the nation's cities, and are the only ones allowed to engage in violence, as those they deem breaking the rules will be punished. If they find your crimes are light, they'll imprison you. If your crimes are harsh, they'll beat you on the spot, and if you're still alive, they'll throw you out of the city, bones broken and organs ruptured. They don't have them in the renegade cities, just ones owned by the government. That's how you keep the peace here? Beating people to near death? I shout, shocked to hear that. No one says those found guilty of the worst crimes have to survive. Usually they're beaten to death. That's how order is kept in official cities like this. You should have told me that stuff happens here. I shout at her now that I could be beaten at any moment. You need to be told to behave? You want to be treated like a child? She asks me back. Let's just go and hide in that tower Bodaka pointed to. We start running, but all of a sudden we're surrounded by Krivadels riding floating wheelless motorcycles. Are these Bodos? I ask Quiga, just to be sure, even though they're all dressed in the same green uniforms. These are them, Quiga says bluntly, since she's not in danger of being beaten. Reckless destruction of property. That gets you either a fine of 4,000 drell, or be in prison for 40 days, or you can choose that we hit you for 4 hours. One of these guys says from their floating motorcycle, and I'm surprised he's giving me a choice. I don't have that much money, and I can't spend that much time in jail, I say to them before one of them cuts me off. Beating it is. The Bodos start getting off the hovercrafts that surround us on both sides while holding metal batons that start glowing, and I know I don't want to know why they glow like that. Over a window? It was an accident. Is this really how law enforcement works? I ask in disbelief. It's been working pretty well, you weird little thing, the same guy from before says again, and I look over to Anquiga stepping back, getting away from this. I don't know if I should be fighting the authorities here, but thankfully one of the guys on one of the hover bikes starts talking some sense. Hey, how about we just let them off with a warning? What? The first guy who spoke and seems to be in charge asks. Seriously, just look at this thing. Life is punishing it every day. I think we can look the other way here. The damage wasn't even that severe. What is with you, Wadaha? One of the other Bodos asks the guy. I'm just in a generous mood. Alright, I'll even pay for the window, okay? What's going on here? The Bodo in charge is starting to get suspicious of Wadaha. I'm trying out some compassion, unlike all you cold-blooded people, Wadaha says, and like he's just playing around. He parks his bike next to us, getting off it. Now go on, get out of here. I'll handle this. The rest just seem to shrug it off and disperse. We all stand there in silence for a little while. I think Wadaha wants to make sure the others are gone. Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you, he says, and I'm just confused. What are you talking about? I heard all about how you got into that kerfuffle with Agent Mashai. You actually managed to hurt her. An agent. That's real impressive. He whispers that last part. How do you know that? I ask as I'm utterly confused. It's a shame we lost Stefano and Achime. Some are thinking of ways to recover them, but they were captured by Saitan, and they may be lost to us. Just so you know, no one blames you for that. What are you trying to say? I ask, wanting him to explain himself. Wadaha leans in to whisper into my ear. Secretly, I'm a member of Krigagor, the Phantom Nation. We do all we can to help those who take a stand against Saitan. Some of our associates live in Turdrum. You know Horaito? That old guy? Who wanted to kill us? After they got away, he told us what happened. Our leaders are interested in meeting you. Just hang around here for a few days. I'll send out the signal. We can do a lot to help you. He then straightens back up. You're staying at the Drum Frat, he asks, and I assume he means the hotel. I didn't know the name of it. We're not staying there anymore. I don't think we'll be staying here for long. We're with some friends, and they've been talking about something called the comeback contest. Right, Loritas will be starting soon. Okay, I'll have our people meet you there. Okay, I say, as I'm not used to trusting random people. Just let me ask, what are you? I'm a human mutated or something by Saitan, I say, as I don't like constantly being asked that. I'll have to schedule a physical for you. With that, Wadaha gets on his hoverbike and takes off. Well, that was interesting. What do you think about that? I'm sure he just wants to sell us out to Saitan. Quiga says with emotional numbness. Really? You're saying Seitan hires people like him to look out for people like us? Of course. Why wouldn't they? Those aren't the vibes I was getting from him. Fine. Let's just wait a few days, and if we're all dead, you have to admit I was right. All right, then. Let's just meet up with the others before anything else happens. We make our way back to that smoking tower. We wait outside, and now that I'm in front of it, do I see how wide this thing is? It takes up the space of 2 buildings. While we wait for the others, I smell a wide variety of aromas coming out of this place. The food in there certainly smells like I could eat it. Quiga just leans against the wall, and I can't get her to talk about anything. Soon Bodaka and the others come back. Hope you weren't waiting for too long. We dropped off all the stuff we got at the craft. Now let's get something to eat. We need to put that unpleasantness behind us and celebrate our victory in Turgrum, Bodaka says, and he certainly doesn't seem upset about what happened. He's being his usual upbeat self. Every official city in Lorita has a Habli in it, Miga says, and she sounds like her cheerful self too, despite her nose still being dark blue from when I stomped her face. I guess this restaurant is part of a chain in Lorita. Walking inside, I'm shocked by what I see. There is a giant green stalk growing straight up in the center. It has multiple giant branches growing off it and into the white wall. I guess this stalk grew the wall? Or vice versa? They've attached the lights to the branches. There is a wall built around the base of the stalk where all that colored smoke is rising from. I can see through the windows in that wall that it's the kitchen. I look up to see all. The tables are on the branches! People are sitting up there eating even though there's no railing. If they scooch their chairs back too far, they'll fall. I see there are stairs built onto the side of the kitchen wall. I watch a server walk up them, and then she balances the tray of food on her tail, and she climbs up the stalk with her hands and feet to reach the branch where the customers are sitting. This is a Hablagoo plant. The restaurant's founder decided to make restaurants out of them, and it took off, Terate says. He could tell by my expression that I'm surprised by all this. Walking toward the stalk, I look at the shiny, colorful tiles that make the floor. They look glass-like. Walking up to the stalk, I now see that it has a rough, hard surface with small little edges on it. I place the tips of my claws on the edges, and it feels right. I reach up with my other hand to place my claws and to start climbing. I put the sides of my feet against the stalk to help me get up there, and it feels like it's working, but I accidentally pull off a section of this hard layer, and I fall back onto the floor. I was barely able to climb up at all. I can hear a few of the people above me laughing at my little stunt. The laughs all stab into me. I can't get up until they stop. What was that? What's going on out here? This guy shouts as he storms out of the kitchen and runs up the stairs. What are you? What are you doing, damaging my Hablagoo? This guy is so aggressive that he makes me jump to my feet. I apologize to him, but he doesn't seem to care. He's just really upset about this piece that broke off. Hey, calm down, Bodaka says, jumping down from the branch to help me out. Calm down? He says without yelling, but you can still tell he's full of rage. Look at that! That is one of the best gripping spots on the stalk. It'll take weeks for it to grow back. That spot was already worn out, and you know it. You aren't getting no damage pay from us, Bodaka says in a tough voice as he gets in the guy's face. The angry guy then turns away and stomps back into the kitchen. Bodaka turns back to me. As weird as you look, you still look like an easy mark that people can scare money out of. He didn't ask for, he was going to. Bodaka then shows me the right way to climb the stalk, and after 20 minutes I managed what they could do in 8 seconds. Now on the branch, I see that the top side is flat. Walking over to the table, I have over 3 feet of space on both sides of me, but with no railings, it all feels weird. I look over to the branch on my right. It's much narrower, and I notice 2 of the Krivadels walking on it, keeping the tips of their tails against the branch as they walk. That must be to help them with their balance. I get to the table just as the servers leave after bringing the food. They left 2 big trays of food and set out the plates. The food is also colorful, with many different smells that are all really good. I didn't order anything. We ordered for everyone. Just eat what you want, Bodaka says, and he hands me an empty plate. Everyone takes and passes the food they want around, and I take what I can. I fill my plate with something that looks like a giant shrimp wrapped in a red leaf, a hunk of green meat with a blue sauce, some thick red noodles, and some mush that looks like mashed potatoes, but with green dots all over them. I start eating, and even though the texture of everything makes me want to puke, the flavor is really good. Some taste like fried foods, the other have a fruity flavor. I look around for a napkin, but don't see any. I look up and see that everyone is eating with their utensils very fast, almost machine-like. None of them have dropped any food on or stained their clothes or have anything on their faces, except for Kuiga. I noticed she has to tear off one of those big serrated edges off the bottom of her outfit to wipe her mouth. I'm shocked to see that piece regrow quickly. Whoa, how'd it do that? I blurted out, pointing at her clothes. I accidentally drew everyone's attention. Unlike yours, normal clothes are made from the skin of an uthio, an animal whose skin grows back instantly. They put small biocomputers in the clothes so they grow back into their programmed shape. The clothes get thinner every time they do that, so they'll wear out over time. Tadate explains, and that sounds crazy. I noticed Kuiga is looking upset. I think having everyone look at her made her feel uncomfortable. I better draw the attention away from her. Where are the napkins? I asked Tadate, and everyone seems confused by it. I need something to clean my face with, I say, wiping the food off with the side of my thumb. Napkin? Must be a human thing. We don't need to clean our faces because we know how to eat perfectly. Tadate explains to me, but I just have more questions. What? Do all Krivadels go to some etiquette school? They all look at each other and seem to be as confused as I am. You don't know about birthrights, do you? Bodaka asks, and that sounds familiar. I think someone said that back at Turdrum, and he did a couple hours ago. Kaduki trips up to explain everything. He's sounding smug in doing so, like I'm supposed to be impressed by him knowing this. A birthright is the knowledge and experience we Krivadels inherit from our ancestors. The simple, everyday stuff like eating is more commonly inherited by everyone, but the more advanced stuff is rarely inherited, and some people get more while others get less. That's a lot to wrap my head around. Wait a minute. Those numbers they said before they started fighting, were those how many fights they've gotten experience from? They actually know the exact number? Do they have to count them in their heads, or do they know automatically? I almost fall back in my chair and off the branch just thinking about this. So, you know the lives your parents and ancestors lived? I quickly ask, interested to know more. No, we don't get personal moments about them, just the stuff they knew how to do with the experience, like using utensils. I cut Kaduki off there. And fighting, I say, starting to get it. Yeah, Kaduki says, sounding a little upset that I interrupted him. So Krivadels gained some of the information their parents knew and muscle memory of what they did. Hold on, then why is Kuiga's eating messy? I thought they all gained simple stuff like this. I can't ask everyone, it'll embarrass her. Tadate is next to me, and he's pretty chill. I get his attention and whisper to him. So how come Kuiga isn't eating cleanly like the rest of you? Because she's a branch breed. They don't get birthrights. He whispers back, and I find that pretty interesting. I go back to eating my food and think about all that. If they learn what their parents knew, then do they have schools? Never heard of them. Tadate whispers back, and then I start eating my weird shrimp thing. I think it might be moving in my mouth. Is this alive? I quickly bite the head off in case it was. They don't have school, so then how do the branch breeds learn stuff? Do they shadow the ones who know everything? I decide to whisper another question to Tadate. How do the branch breeds or anyone learn anything they don't know? Pure breeds rarely need to learn new things. We just build off what we're born with. Branch breeds don't learn anything. They're either living in the wilderness as savage foragers, or they get caught up and put to work as slaves. Slaves? I ask, and I remember that's how I met Kuiga. She was caught and was going to be sold as a slave. Yeah, the factory in the center of the city is a slave city. It's called that because the slaves live on the grounds outside the factory, Tadate says, and we stopped whispering without realizing it. Seriously? I ask, loud enough to draw everyone's attention. Yeah, I think they make computer parts there, Tadate says. He seems confused by my reaction. No, it's parts for vehicles, Miga corrects him. Why are branch breeds treated like that? I ask the group, desperate to know. Why not? Guda replies. At least this way they're accomplishing something with their lives. No, I mean, why not just treat them like people and give them jobs? Because it's easier to just push them around and not pay them, Guda continues to answer calmly and casually. Your people would rather abuse people than teach them? It's easier. Guda snaps back, and I can tell she's a monster. It's not just teaching them, but they keep forgetting. So they have to be taught over and over again until they remember. That's something I can relate to. I always forget things I studied and have to go over them again. Must be hard for people to put up with when they have no problem remembering things. It just seems a bit extreme. Vayne, pure breeds from long ago tried to treat branches equally, but they just kept messing up and getting in the way. Even with their breed abilities, it wasn't enough to make up for what they lacked. This is just how things naturally progressed, and it's been working out, Bodaka calmly says, and I do like to hear that attempts have been made, but it's still sad to hear they failed. Wait, what's this about abilities? Each breed has their own marks. You see, the ones on her face are that of the Teshin breed, recently discovered 300 years ago. Each breed has a unique physical ability, Miga quickly says, like she's interested in that stuff. Interesting. Anyway, are these people okay being slaves? I mean, are they treated all right? Who cares? Even with their breed abilities, they're still too weak to keep from being caught. They're pathetic. Karuki says that with Quiga right there. She stopped eating and her face is turning blue. We're rogues, now revolutionaries. We don't take up long-term residence in official cities like this, so we don't know or have any reason to look into it, Bodaka explains to me, but I'm still not satisfied. Why don't you go check it out and ask the slaves yourself? Guda suggests, probably not being serious, but I take that as a good idea. I finished my food before standing up. I'm sure to fall if I try climbing down. Besides, I've seen others on these lower branches just jumping the 15 or more feet to the floor. I stared downwards for a moment, thinking I'd be scared, but after what happened in Turgum, I'm not too scared of heights anymore. I step off the branch and land on my feet. The pain is minimal. Quiga drops down next to me. You want to come too? Not really, but I feel uncomfortable being alone with pure breeds. She whispers to me. We then leave the restaurant. Don't worry, we'll catch up to you soon. I hear Bodaka shout at us as we leave. That does feel reassuring, knowing they'll come check up on us. I'm going to assume that we're going to get in trouble. Out on the street, I can't see that church-looking factory from down here. I have to get over these buildings. Which way do we go? I asked Quiga, not knowing whether or not she would know, but more so out of habit. I don't know. How come you didn't tell the others about Wadaha or Krigagor? Quiga asks. I guess she thought I would. Oh, I honestly forgot about that guy. Let's just check out the slave city for now and tell them about that after. We should get up to the top of a building to see the way there. Quiga then jumps 7 feet up and quickly scales the building across the street from the restaurant. I follow suit and jumped up. My claws can stab into this material, making it easier to climb than that plant. My tips kept slipping off those small edges. It doesn't take long to see the factory. The tall, slender smokestacks and the high steeples in the center of the city stand out above every other building here. Okay, there it is. Let's go. I shout in Quiga and I start jumping from roof to roof over the streets to get there as soon as possible. Moving like this makes getting around so easy, but I notice no one else is doing this, so I feel a little embarrassed. We land on a roof just a few streets away from the factory. Hey, how come no one else moves through the city like this? She says while pointing back, and there I see we've been destroying the edges of the buildings with each jump, and I hadn't even noticed. What? I hadn't even noticed! And I didn't care. I hear it's only the season Saitan that have all their buildings made out of the good materials. Now the Bodos have a trail that'll lead right to us. I say, now concerned about a repeat from before. Most likely. We could hide in the slave city and lose them, Quiga suggests, and I suppose it's worth a try. Well, we now know where it is, so let's get down to the street and run the rest of the way. Sure, she says, sounding completely disinterested. We could have just asked for directions from the start. She says as we drop down, I guess we could have done that, but she's too antisocial, and I'm too nervous to talk to random Krivadels since I'm different. I'm not sure how they'd react. We run down a few streets and make a few turns, and while I'm keeping an ear out for any sounds of the Bodos coming after us. So far, so good, and we finally make it to the slave city. It's surrounded by a 20-foot-high fence. The sides of the bars that face the inside are sharp like the blade of a sword, and the top of the fence has 3 bars running through all the other vertical-bladed ones, and have countless foot-long spikes sticking out of them in all directions. So, how do we get in? I asked, looking around until I noticed that Quiga just sauntered in through a large hole in the fence. It seems strange they leave that there. I follow her in, and the whole area is just a dirt ground with some huts made from the dirt placed in rows. I look into a few and I only see divots in the ground. They look like they're used for sleeping. As we keep moving, the buildings around us start to look more well built and are made out of metal. But from looking inside, I can tell that these aren't for living. We go inside one and see that these look like workshops filled with various machines and materials. So where is everyone? We haven't seen a single person so far. It is strange. You'd think they'd be working right now. I mean, what else do they have going on? Quiga says, and flicks a couple of switches that turns on one of the machines, a large mechanical arm with a metal point on the end of it. is mounted onto the table against the wall next to me. The arm swings into position, striking me in the back of the head, and I black out. Chapter 6. End.